Hello, I'm Lisa Sabaniak, and today I'd like to talk to you about forgiving so that you can find inner peace. So, we do often see in the media that people are suggesting that forgiveness is really something that is going to bring you quite a lot of comfort. And certainly, if you are in a relationship and you need to forgive that other person, that could really make or break the relationship, whether you are able to do that or not. But I think because we have so many examples of needing to forgive somebody who is in our lives, who are we are choosing to have remain in our lives, we forget perhaps maybe that when we forgive, we don't always have to have that person in our life. And so forgiveness has kind of taken this road of you forgive and forget, right? It's even an expression. And I think that really came about because of the idea of needing to have that person remain in your life. For example, if you're in a relationship and the other person cheats and you want to remain in that relationship, forgiving, but also still holding on to the memory of what they did to you is going to be very painful. It's going to be a reminder. It's going to change your behavior, the way that you behave towards your partner, and it's going to affect the level of trust that you have. So, in that sense, it does seem that to forgive, you have to be willing to let go. And for most of us, let go seems to be the forget part of this equation. And I don't agree with that. First of all, you can forgive and not have that person in your life any longer. But if you are in that scenario where the person you are forgiving, you choose to have them remain in your life, the forget part here is not the same as letting go. To me, what letting go is a deep trust within yourself. It's a love and respect and acceptance of yourself, a deep knowing that regardless of what this other person chooses to do with their life, what they choose to say, their actions, whatever in this case, perhaps they will choose to cheat again. That is something that is outside of your control. But what you can control is you. And you can have a deep trust and love of yourself to know that if that were to happen, you will be fine. You will be okay. Of course, it's going to hurt. Of course, there's going to be a whole process that would be involved, but you cannot control that other person. So if you choose to forgive them for their misdeeds, what you're really doing is forgiving the choices that they made in that moment with the trust that they will make different choices when they are faced with a similar situation, but an even deeper trust in yourself that if they made a decision that is contrary to what you would like them to have made, that you are going to be okay. This is letting go. It's surrendering to what you cannot control, which is them. And it's also a beautiful example of how you find inner peace. Because the concept of forgiving, while it always seems like it has to do with the other person, right? You're forgiving them so that they can continue to be in your life. You can continue to have this relationship. It seems very much that it is about them. But the reality is the forgiveness really doesn't have anything to do with them. It has to do with you. It has to do with whether or not you want to hold on to that hurt and that anger and that frustration and whatever else was brought up by whatever they have done or said. Do you want to hold on to that, or are you willing to let it go? The forgiveness, therefore, is really for you. It's so that you can wipe the slate clean for yourself, so that again, you can experience that inner peace. And that inner peace really comes from that deep knowing, that deep understanding, that deep love and trust that you have for yourself to know that you deserve better than feeling the anger, the frustration, and the pain that you were feeling. And you are willing to let that go. Now I know that that seems a lot easier said than done, of course, right? And for a lot of people it really is easier said than done. But this goes with a lot of the other work that I talk about that I do. And if you're familiar with my work, then you'll easily recall this. And if not, go through some of my other YouTube videos, for example, or my Instagram videos, and you'll see me talking about this idea that people do what they do to meet a need within themselves. Very, very rarely is somebody actually doing something with the intent of hurting you as an individual person that they are targeting. Much more often, if they are trying to hurt someone, it is again nothing to do with you being the person that they are hurting, but that they have learned somewhere in their life before that in hurting someone else, they get their own need met. And so, even when it seems very specific and targeted to you actually remove you and put somebody else in that place, and they would have done a similar thing because it's about the need within themselves that they're going about trying to meet. And you are doing the same thing. We all are. It's just some of us have either learned much more positive ways to meet our needs that serve our highest good right from the beginning, or we didn't, like many of us, we learned in a more negative way, but then we became aware of what we were doing. We became aware at some point in our lives that actually our behavior is driven by what we are getting from that behavior, and that the what we're getting is not the thing that needs to change, that's the need, but how we're going about meeting that need is what sometimes is what needs to change. And so some of us have gone through that process and have had that realization. And so then are specifically looking at our behavior and start to make changes in there. Guaranteed, the person who has hurt you in that moment of hurting you, especially if it's something like this example I'm using with cheating, hasn't learned that yet, right? And their act of cheating had nothing to do with you. Of course, there's going to be lots of people that are relationship experts who will say, of course, if there was something that was lacking within the relationship that caused them to. And of course, there's all kinds of factors that come into play here. But the point is it was a need within them. This could be a similar relationship that they were in with somebody else that has similar circumstances around it, and they would have gone off and cheated as well to meet that need. It was not you within this relationship that caused them to do this. So, whatever the thing is that you are looking to forgive, it is the same circumstance. It really wasn't about you, it was about them. They were meeting their own needs. Just like you going through the process of forgiving and letting go is actually to serve your own need for inner peace. And you deserve that. I hope that helped. If you enjoyed this, I would love for you to leave a comment, let me know about it, share it, and like it. Help me to reach my goal, which is to reach 1 million people. Thank you.